It's quiet in here now. Not the kind of silence that feels empty exactly, just the kind that feels heavy, like a blanket you've pulled up too high, covering your ears. The air in this room hasn't moved much today. I can see the dust motes floating in that single beam of sunlight coming through the gap in the curtains. They just hang there, suspended in the amber light, turning slowly, drifting up, drifting down. I've been watching one particular speck for, I don't know how long, 10 minutes, an hour. It doesn't matter. Time doesn't move in straight lines anymore. It pools. It sits in the corners of the room like water. My tea has gone cold. I can see the film on top of the liquid, a dull gray skin over the brown. I should get up and pour it out. Maybe boil the kettle again. But the chair has taken my shape. It holds me. The velvet on the armrests is worn smooth, almost bald in places, right where my elbows rest. It's strange how we wear ourselves into the world, isn't it? We leave these little indentations, a hollow in the mattress, a smooth patch on the armrest, a path worn into the rug. But we leave nothing of our voice. The words just vanish. I have been thinking about words today, the ones I said and the ones I kept. It's a funny thing to be this old, 80-something, or nearly 90. I lose count and I don't care to check the calendar. When you are this old, you realize that your life is mostly a museum of things you didn't say, the things you swallowed. I can feel them sometimes, physically feel them. They are like stones in my stomach, or like old dry seeds that never got water, just sitting there in the dark soil of me, waiting for a rain that isn't coming. I never learned how to say, I am scared. That's a simple one, isn't it? 3 words. A child can say it. A child says it when the lights go out. But somewhere along the line, maybe it was my father, or maybe just the way the world was back then, I learned that a man doesn't say he is scared. He just tightens his jaw. He puts his hands in his pockets. He looks at the horizon as if he's planning something, when really his heart is hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. I remember standing in a hospital corridor. It must have been 40 years ago. The floor was linoleum, polished so high it looked wet. Green and white tiles. I remember the smell of ammonia and floor wax. I was standing there, and the doctor was talking to me, moving his mouth, saying words about percentages and treatments and time frames. And I remember the terror. It was a cold, sharp thing right in the center of my chest. I wanted to grab the sleeve of his white coat. I wanted to say, I am terrified. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be the person who survives this. But I didn't. I nodded. I think I said, I understand. I said, thank you, doctor. And I walked to the vending machine and bought a coffee that tasted like burnt plastic. I drank it black, staring at my own reflection in the dark glass of the window. A man in a suit, composed, solid, a lie. And now sitting here, listening to the refrigerator hum in the kitchen, that rattle it makes every time the motor kicks in. I wonder what would have changed if I had just said it, if I had let the air out of my lungs, if I had admitted that I was small and frightened. Maybe nothing would have changed. The outcome would have been the same, but the weight might have been shared. There is a cramp in my left hand. I'm rubbing it with my right thumb, digging into the muscle between the thumb and the forefinger. The skin is like paper now, translucent. I can see the blue veins, roped and knotted. These hands have done so much work. They've built bookshelves. They've changed tires in the rain. They've signed checks and held door handles and gripped steering wheels. But they never learned how to open up, palms flat, and just ask for something. I never learned how to say, I need you. There was a woman, not the one you might think, not a wife, just Someone. We used to sit on her porch in the summers. This was years ago, decades. The wood of the porch was painted gray, peeling a bit. We would drink iced tea or sometimes gin if it was late enough. The crickets would be screaming in the tall grass, and we would talk about everything: politics, the weather, the neighbors, books we had read. We talked around the edges of things. We circled the center, but we never touched it. I remember one night, the air was heavy with impending rain. You could smell the ozone. She was looking at me, and there was this silence, a long, stretching silence that wasn't empty. It was full. It was waiting. I knew with absolute certainty that if I said, stay, or if I said, I need you to be in my life, everything would shift. The world would pivot on its axis. I could feel the words in my throat. I could taste them. They tasted like metal. But the habit of silence was too strong. The habit of being self-sufficient, of being an island. So I looked at my watch. I tapped the face of it. I said, looks like that storm is coming in. I'd better get on the road. I saw her eyes change, just a fraction. The light went out of them, just a little. She smiled, a tight, polite smile. She said, drive safe, and I drove home. I drove home in the rain, the wipers slapping back and forth, like a metronome counting down the time I had left to turn around. I didn't turn around. I went home, locked the door, and listened to the rain hit the roof. I was safe. I was independent. I was alone. I wonder where she is now. Dead, likely. Most of them are dead. My address book is full of crossed-out names. It's a graveyard in alphabetical order. The light on the wall has moved. It's lower now, more orange. The day is giving up. I like this time of day best, I think. The twilight. It's forgiving. It softens the edges of the furniture. It hides the dust. It makes the silence feel appropriate, rather than accusatory. I never learned how to say, I was wrong. That's a hard one. Maybe the hardest. I have been wrong so many times. I have been wrong about people, wrong about directions, wrong about what mattered. I remember an argument with my brother. We were shouting. I don't even remember what it was about. Money, property, something trivial, something that seemed enormous at the time but now is just dust. I remember shouting at him, my face hot, my blood pumping. I was so sure of my righteousness. I wrapped myself in it like armor. I said things that were sharp, things meant to cut. And later, years later, when I realized I had misunderstood the whole situation, when I realized he had been trying to help me, I couldn't fix it. The words I was wrong felt like a surrender. They felt like a weakness. So I just bought him dinner. I talked about the football game. I asked about his kids. I did everything except say the thing. I tried to patch the crack with plaster, but I never fixed the foundation. And there was always that distance between us after that. A little gap. We stepped over it. We ignored it. But it was there. A thin line of silence where an apology should have been. He's gone now, too. The last time I saw him, he was so small in the bed. All the anger, all the pride, it had all melted away, leaving just bone and breath. I held his hand. I wanted to say it then. I was wrong, Frank, about that thing in '74, about a lot of things. But the words felt too heavy to lift, and the moment felt too fragile. So I just said, it's okay, you can rest now. Maybe that was enough. I hope it was enough, but I sit here in this chair, rubbing my thumb against the velvet, and I wonder. There is a bird outside, a crow, I think, calling out. Call. Call. It sounds rough, impatient. I never learned how to say, I am happy. That sounds strange, doesn't it? People think the hard things to say are the sad things. But joy, joy is vulnerable. To say I am happy is to admit that you have something to lose. It's to open your hands and show the gold you are holding. I remember moments. The sun hitting the water on a fishing trip, the taste of a perfectly ripe peach, the juice running down my wrist, the smell of a new car, the feeling of a child falling asleep against my shoulder. My nephew it was. In those moments, I felt this swelling in my chest, this expansion. I wanted to shout it. I wanted to grab the person next to me and say, look at this. Isn't it wonderful? Aren't we lucky? But I didn't. I restrained it. I nodded. I said, not bad. Or, that's nice. I dampened it. I diluted it. Why? Was I afraid it would be taken away if I acknowledged it? Was I afraid of looking foolish? I think about that a lot. The foolishness of old men. We spend our youth trying to look cool, trying to look tough, trying to look like we know what we are doing. And then we get old and we realize that the people who looked foolish, the ones who danced at weddings, the ones who cried in movies, the ones who laughed too loud, they were the ones who were actually living. I was watching. I was always watching, taking notes, keeping the record, but I wasn't in the frame. My legs are stiff. I need to stretch them out. There, the knees pop, a dry sound like snapping twigs. The body tells the truth, even when the mouth doesn't. My body says, you are tired. You have walked a long way. You have carried too much. Asterisk. I look at the bookshelf across the room. Shadows are gathering in the spaces between the books. I have read so many words, millions of them, other people's words. I use them to hide. It's easier to quote a line of poetry than to say what you are feeling. It's easier to talk about history than to talk about your own history. I never learned how to say, I don't know who I am. We are supposed to know, aren't we? By this age, we are supposed to be wise. People look at me sometimes, young people, at the grocery store or the park, and they have this respect in their eyes. They think, there goes an elder. He has seen it all. He understands the world. I want to laugh or cry. I want to tell them, I am just a boy who got old. Inside, I am still 20. I am still wondering what I want to be when I grow up. I am still waiting for the instruction manual to arrive in the mail. I look in the mirror in the bathroom in the mornings. The glass is a bit foggy from the shower. I wipe it with my hand, and I see this face, the loose skin under the jaw, the spots on the forehead, the gray eyebrows that grow wild, and I think, who is that? I don't recognize him. He looks like my father. He looks like my grandfather, but he doesn't feel like me. Me is the voice inside, and the voice inside hasn't aged. It's still asking the same questions it asked when I was 12. Do they like me? Am I doing this right? What happens next? But you can't say that out loud. You have to play the part. You have to nod and look sagacious. You have to offer peppermint candies and talk about the weather. You have to be the old man. The room is getting darker. The beam of sunlight is gone now. The dust motes have disappeared into the gray. The temperature is dropping. I can feel the draft coming from the hallway. I should get up and close the door, but it takes so much effort to gather the will to move. I think about the concept of goodbye. I never learned how to say that properly either. I was always the one who left the party without telling anyone. The Irish exit, they call it. I would just slip away. I hated the doorway conversations, the lingering, the hugging, the false promises of, we must do this again soon. I hated the finality of it, so I just faded. And now I wonder if that's how I will go out of this life, just slipping out the side door while the party is still going on. No speeches, no handshakes, just an empty chair and a cold cup of tea. It scares me a little. Being forgotten, that's another thing I never said. Please remember me. I look at the objects in this room. The ceramic bowl on the table, full of keys and coins. The landscape painting on the wall, a mountain scene, generic. Bought at a garage sale. The rug with the fringe that always gets caught in the vacuum cleaner. These things witness me. They are the only witnesses left. When I go, they will be put in boxes. They will be scattered. The bowl will go to a thrift store. The painting might be thrown away. And the specific way I sat in this chair, the specific way I looked at the light, that will be gone. Please remember me. It sounds so needy, so desperate, but it is the truth. We all want to leave a mark, a scratch on the wall. I was here. I remember a dog I had, a terrier mix, scrappy little thing, Buster. He didn't have any words, but he knew how to speak. He would put his head on my knee and sigh, a long, shuddering sigh. And in that sigh, he said everything. He said, I am safe. I love you. I am content. I envied him. I envied the simplicity of it. He didn't worry about whether he was saying the right thing. He just was. Why is it so hard for us? For humans? We have these incredible tongues, these vocal cords, this complex language. We can describe the structure of the atom and the orbit of the stars. But we choke on the simplest things. We stumble over, I love you. We trip over, I am sorry. We swallow, help me. It's pride, I suppose, and fear. Always fear. Fear of being seen, really seen, naked and flawed and human. If I could do it again, if I could go back to being 30 or 40 or 50, would I be different? I'd like to think so. I'd like to think I would be loud, messy, emotional. I would tell the cashier I liked her hair. I would tell my brother I loved him every time I hung up the phone, even if he laughed at me. I would tell that woman on the porch to stay, to never leave, to weather the storm with me. But I don't know. We are creatures of habit. We are creatures of our time. I was built to be silent. I was built to endure. The clock on the mantelpiece chimes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. The news will be on soon. I usually watch the news. It gives a structure to the evening, a rhythm, world disasters, local politics, weather, sports, a comforting parade of other people's problems. But maybe I won't turn it on tonight. Maybe I will just sit here a little longer in the dark. I am trying to practice. I am trying to say the words now, in the quiet of this room, whispering them to the furniture. I am lonely. It sounds loud in the silence. It sounds jagged. I am afraid of dying. That one lands harder. It hangs in the air. The house creaks in response. I loved you more than I showed. Who am I saying that to? Everyone, no one. The ghosts. My throat feels dry. The words scrape. It is physical labor, this truth-telling. It exhausts me. I reach for the cup of tea. It is ice cold now. I take a sip anyway. It is bitter, tannic. It tastes like regret. But I drink it. I drink it down. I look at my hands again. They are trembling slightly. Just a tremor. Parkinson's? Or just age? Or just the vibration of the engine running down? It doesn't matter. They are my hands. They have held on tight for a long time. Maybe it is time to practice letting go. Letting go of the need to be strong. Letting go of the need to be right. Letting go of the history I carry around like a sack of rocks. There is a peace in admitting you don't know anything. A strange, cool peace. I sit here, and I don't know what tomorrow brings. I don't know where my brother is. I don't know if I lived a good life. I just know that the chair is soft. I know that the darkness is gentle. I know that my breath goes in and my breath goes out. In, out, in, out. I wish I had told my mother she was beautiful. I remember her standing at the sink, peeling potatoes. She looked tired, always tired. I should have walked up behind her and said, "You are beautiful, Mama." I didn't. I just asked when dinner would be ready. I wish I had told my father I respected him, even when I hated him, because I did. I respected his struggle. He was a hard man, but he was carrying a mountain. I see that now. Now that I am carrying my own pebble, I see his mountain. I wish I had told the boys I worked with at the factory that I appreciated them. We spent 40 hours a week together for 20 years. We shared lunches, we shared complaints, but we never shared our hearts. We just talked about cars and women and sports. When the plant closed, we just shook hands and walked away, dispersed like seeds in the wind. So many threads left hanging, so many sentences left without periods. But maybe that's just what a life is. It's not a book. It's not a movie. It doesn't have a script. It's just a collection of fragments, a mosaic with half the tiles missing, and you have to stand back and squint to see the picture. And from where I'm sitting, in the dark, in the quiet, the picture isn't bad. It's incomplete. It's flawed. It's full of holes. But it's mine. I shift in the chair. My hip aches, a dull, grinding ache. It's my companion. It reminds me I am here. I think I will get up soon. I think I will go to the kitchen. I will pour this tea down the sink. I will rinse the cup. I will dry it with the blue towel. I will put it back on the hook. Small actions, concrete actions. They are a language too. Maybe that's what I did. Maybe I didn't speak in words. Maybe I spoke in cups of tea. Maybe I spoke in fixed shelves. Maybe I spoke in checked locks and paid bills. Maybe that was my vocabulary. I hope so. I hope someone heard it. The darkness is complete now. The only light comes from the street lamp outside, casting a long, distorted rectangle across the carpet. It looks like a door of light on the floor. I am not going to turn on the lamp. Not yet. I want to sit with this. I want to sit with the silence I created. It's not an enemy. It's just the silence. I clear my throat, a rough, rasping sound. I am here, I say. It comes out as a whisper. I am still here. The room accepts it. The walls absorb it. Nothing breaks. The roof doesn't cave in. I did my best. Did I? I don't know, but I say it anyway. I did my best. It feels a little better to say it. A little lighter. I lean my head back against the chair. I close my eyes. I listen to the house. It breathes. It settles. The wood contracts in the cooling air. A floorboard creaks upstairs. A memory of a footstep. I will sit here for another minute, just another minute. Then I will get up. Then I will wash the cup. But for now, just the quiet, just the dark, just the breathing, and the things I never said. Maybe they don't need to be said anymore. Maybe they are just part of the silence now. And maybe the silence is enough. I hope it is enough. I'm just going to rest my eyes. Just for a moment. The air is cool. The dark is soft. It's okay. It's okay.